Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mysticall. Today, I want to bring you a video going over every single add-on that I use for PvP and PvE. It's for both. I use the same add-ons for everything. Before I talk about my add-on settings, I just want to talk to you about the philosophy of my add-ons and my UI. I pretty much want to keep things as simple as possible, as clean as possible, and as minimal as I can. I do not want my screens to be overwhelmed by spells. And the most important thing is I do not want to have duplicate information on my screen. I think that information overload in WoW Arena is a real thing. I think it's a real thing, and I see a lot of UIs that has, it tracks interrupts in like 3 different spots when I don't think, that decision making in the middle of Arena of where you're going to look, I think that gives you, it actually put is disadvantage there. So what I try to do is I try to track certain things, one thing in one spot. So interrupts will be in one spot. Defensives will be in another, dispels in another, arena frames are in one spot, my abilities are in one spot, and that I think is super important, and that's what I've done with my UI. If you have ever have any questions about it, please let me know. If you want to see any updates to a certain add-on, or you don't like how something's done, please let me know. I can always make a different profile for somebody. I've done it many a time. So with that said, let's jump right into the video. If you don't want to waste your time watching this video, which I don't know how long it's going to be, it might be a long one. Every single add-on I have and every single import that is important is in the description. What it's going to do is it's going to bring you to a link. It's going to be my GitHub right here. And what this does is this tracks every single change that I do to my add-ons, essentially every single one. So just follow the instructions down here. I think I might need to update this list because I think there's 1 or 2 missing, and I'll update that. But every single import, edit mode, everything, every single add-on that I have is here. So if you just want the import, you just want to take the file and copy and paste it into your add-on folder, please do it. It is all yours. It is all free. All right, so we're going to run through every single add-on as well as every single setting that I have, because why not? I love add-ons. I love my UI, and people tend to like it as well. So please let me know if there's anything you want me to change or anything. I'll be more than happy. So the first one is Auctionator. And like I said, I'm going to run through every single one. Now, the main use for this add-on is I can track recipes with it and just search for it instantly because I am lazy. I'm extremely lazy. I also like to gold make. I do a bunch of gold making. I have about maybe 12 million gold now. So love gold making when I'm not streaming. I love farming. I love professions. I really do. So this is what I enjoy in my free time. And it's just easy to sell things and cancel and auction everything. But the primary reason that I use this add-on is for just tracking recipes. So if you want to make something, for example, like if you want to make a potion, you can go to track recipe and it's going to show up on the side here, and you can press search and it'll bring up all the mats that you need for it. That's literally the main reason I use this add-on. BetterBlizzFrames, this is a huge add-on. Again, I have the import in that GitHub, but this is it's just a huge add-on, essentially. This has so many different settings. I could probably make a 1-hour-long video on just this add-on alone. Really the main things is just for like the little things that I use this for. So general settings, you can hide arena frames, you can hide boss frames, OCD tweaks, I just have checked because I think it's nice. You can hide CC background, so you can remove gaps around player portraits when you can see the CC, and you can hide the lines, because sometimes there's lines above and below the crowd control on you. So I just get rid of that. And then this is also my player frame. So I get this asked a lot, is like, what is my character frame? And that's what this is. It's the classic frames with the classic health color and class color names and all that. So I do use that a lot. As far as everything else, you can kind of just go through here and see what you like. I just tailored it to myself and what I like. As far as advanced settings goes, I don't do anything in here. I have my own Weakauras for combat indicator. I'm not a big fan of adding extra clutter, especially if I don't need it. So I don't have anything here. Buffs and debuffs, I actually like this section a lot. Huge fan of this. And if you don't want to take any time to add any buffs or debuffs, don't worry. I no-lifed it. I've gone through every single buff and debuff. And if you want to see something similar to what I have, just import my profile. I spent a lot of time going through this. You'll see, for example, you should see Vivacious Vivification here too as well. Any kind of buffs that I think are important to see, as Mistweaver is going to be up here. And then any debuffs or anything like that, you can actually see on the player frame or the focus frame. So I have the whitelist set to the same for focus and for the target. So if there's certain buffs you want to see on one target, like I want to see if a warrior's in battle stance, but you always want to make sure what buffs or debuffs the focus frame has, you can do that as well. So I spent a lot of time doing that. You can have it. It's all yours. But that's the buffs and debuffs. Cooldown manager. I didn't really mess around with this. I don't even have the cooldown the cooldown manager enabled. I do like this feature and I love it, and I hope that they keep improving upon it. But until it gets to the point where it can kind of start replacing some of my Weakauras, I'm probably not going to use it. Font and textures, I just changed the font, I think, of everything, I'm pretty sure. So I just have it set to this. You can disable this, of course, if you want. Cast bars, I did change the cast bar. I just set it to this, essentially. Nothing too crazy. I have it set for my focus frame and my player frame. Do I have it for target too? And for target as well. So nothing too crazy there. I do want to say the biggest question I also get asked a lot is my focus frame, and that is in the miscellaneous section. So in the miscellaneous section, there's this mini focus frame option, and that's what this is. It removes the player frame and the resources, and it's just a small version. You can make a little mini player frame too and a target frame if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. I've thought about it. I need to track my mana though. I do need to track my mana, but if I could like get like a Weakaura to track the percentage on my mana, I guess I could technically replace, just have the little mini player frames, but it is the mini focus frame, and I have it in the buffs and debuffs. I have it set so you can see the whitelist on the focus frame, even if you have the simple focus frame. So those are the major add-ons or settings for this add-on. Again, I don't do anything too crazy. Just kind of, if I was you and you were interested, I would go through every single one. The creator of this add-on did a great job of just documenting what everything does. So just go through, hover through what you like and what you don't like, and just mess around with it. I've spent countless hours just messing around. Or if you like my profile, you can just take it from the GitHub. Next up is BlizzMove, and this is essentially what it says. It allows you to move any frame that you want, anywhere. You can move any frame to anywhere around the screen. I don't know why this isn't a built-in function to the Blizz UI, but yeah, you can stack them on top of each other. I could not play WoW without this add-on. It would actually drive me crazy if I didn't have this add-on. I mostly actually use this for Auction House, because sometimes when you go on the Auction House and the windows are too big, like they wouldn't overlap and they would like close out, but you could literally have as many windows as you want open. It's amazing. This add-on is absolutely mandatory for me, at least. It drives me crazy when I can't move my frames around. No auto close pairs with BlizzMove. So when you use BlizzMove, you need to download no auto close. That way the windows save their position where you left them, and they don't close when you open up another one. So my apologies. Make sure BlizzMove and no auto close, those two are paired together. Capping allows me to track the Arathi Basin caps, nodes being capped, or Deeper in Gorge, anything like that, any kind of respawns. This is what allows me to see that. That's pretty much it. That's the only option, I'm pretty sure. I haven't done any settings for this at all in any way. Yeah, it just tracks the bars for Alliance and Horde and when certain things are going to cap. I think this is also pretty mandatory if you do anything RBG related or BG Blitz related. Probably needs to be mandatory add-on, I would say, by far. One of the most important add-ons for knowing when to cap. Details is another option, and thankfully this is super easy because I don't do anything crazy for it because of the profile I'm using. So there is a profile. I can find the Reddit to this add-on, but you don't need it. You just need the add-on. So it's called Details and Details Skin TWW. That's all you need to have the add-on that I have. So all you need to do is go to Details Options /Details Options, go to Profiles, and just enable the profile. I think it's underneath the bar settings, and it's the war within bar right here. So underneath Appearance and Bars General, just set the texture to the war within bar, and that's it. That's literally it. The add-on will do everything from there. Everything else is just that add-on. I don't do anything custom to this besides adding a second bar to Details. It is fantastic. Next up is Diminish, and this is an incredibly important add-on for PvP and PvE. I don't use this in PvE because it was a little buggy, but you can enable DRs in PvE as well. So you can do that 100%. It just was causing my system to lag a little bit. I don't know why. So obviously if someone has a better PC than me, I play in one graphics, so you let me know if it works in PvE. For me, I just use it in PvP. And is there a way to toggle test mode? So this allows you to track DRs on yourself and player frames. So you can see right here, these are my DRs. I cannot, for some reason, I cannot test it on nameplates, but this is what allows me to track DRs on players' nameplates. I think this is incredibly important. It also allows you to work with any kind of PvP raid frame or, you know, arena frame add-on. So I use sArena, which I'll talk about later, but this will also track DRs for sArena as well. So really, really handy, super lightweight. You shouldn't go lag too much, but my system, I don't know, in PvE, it was not a fan. As far as settings go, I don't change too much. I enable it for myself because I want to know when I'm off like poly, fear DRs. Focus frame, I don't have it enabled for anything else except for the nameplate. So nameplates right here, if you have my plater profile, which I also have linked in the description, this will just work straight away. These settings will work right away. If you don't have my plater profile, you might have to make some changes just because the size or the width of my nameplates is probably going to be different than yours, but that's fine. You could just adjust it, mess around with it a little bit. I think if you join an arena, you should be able to just make some changes as well. But yeah, I do have it enabled for nameplates. I think it's really important. Party, I think it's overkill. I think it's super overkill. Again, one of the biggest philosophies for my UI is to just keep it simple. And I think a lot of information can be overwhelming and kind of actually hurt you more than help you. So I just don't have this stuff enabled because I don't think it's that important. Maybe it is. It could be. I don't think it's that important though. So that's what I use for Diminish. 100% recommend this add-on for PvP, PvE. I think it's amazing. FrameSort, another, I don't know how more people don't know about this add-on, but this is insane. So this allows me to make sure that I am on the bottom of my party group every time. Every time I step into arena, I can just make sure I'm sorted all the way at the bottom. And that way my keybinds or my macros don't mess up, like my party 1-2 macros don't mess up. So set this up a long time ago. You can change it for every single bracket, twos, dungeons, raids, world, I guess non-instant groups, so maybe like world bosses and stuff like that. For arena, I just make sure you sort by group and then players on the bottom. That's it. IDTip is a super small add-on which allows me to hover over a spell, a buff, a debuff, and allows me to check the spell ID and the icon ID. Very helpful if you're making Weakauras or macros or something like that. I primarily use it for my Weakauras because this, I don't need to do anything crazy. I don't need to, you know, go searching for anything. I can just kind of hover over the spell and just find the spell ID and the icon. I think it's great. Krowi's extended vendor UI. Get this, again, I get asked this a lot. So what this does is this allows you to see a larger like frame at any kind of vendor. And if you go in the top left here to filters, this is the add-on. You can kind of just mess around with it. You can have like certain amount of rows, certain amount of columns. You can make it small. I just like to have it just, I want to see everything that the vendor has to offer. So I just have it as big as possible. Essentially, that's pretty much it. You can hide certain things. There's filters over here as well for certain things that you might not want to see or anything like that. But for the most part, I haven't really had to worry about it. So appearances, you could just like go through here, see if you don't want to see certain, I don't want to see bows because I can't use bows, and you can kind of filter certain things out. But the main use of this is just to make sure I can see everything on the vendor because sometimes I just can't see it all. Leatrix Plus is another add-on that I think I can make easily a 1 hour plus video about this add-on going over all the features. This is a really good add-on for automating certain things, but also for like some niche customization. So this is really good. Accepting summons and accepting reses is really good. It also automatically releases you in PvP. So if you die, you instantly release. Someone battle reses you in PvE, instantly accepts it. So really, really good stuff. Sell junk automatically and repair automatically. I don't know where my gear would be red every time I step into arena if that didn't happen. So I don't have any junk right now because I might have, used the vendor, but my repair cost was 440 gold. I just clicked on it. It repaired my gear instantly. I don't think I had any junk, so that's okay, but it automatically does all that stuff. So really good automation for this add-on. Social, I don't really do anything, but if you want to block any party invites or anything like that, you can do that for sure. I don't really do anything with that. Chat, I don't use anything like this either, but again, change this for how you like it. 100%. You could set the chat size, which is kind of nice actually. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do in here, which is fantastic. Text, you can hide error messages and portrait numbers. That's just what I do. That's pretty much it. Nothing else. And you can hide keybind text, but I have my own little add-on for that. Interface, so enhanced minimap. This is my minimap, by the way. So this is just an entire minimap, and you can just change it, which is just insane. And you could change the size of it. You can hide the add-on menu. So when you hide the add-on menu, all you have to do is right click and it opens up, which is really good. So a lot of things you can do in here. Show player chain. I think this is the elite frame right here. So this should change. Yeah, rare. I mean, I guess we can go with the rare, but you know, the boss one looks sick too. But we'll do rare. As far as anything else, show wildhide links. I guess that's enabled. Show durability status. I guess that's the thing over here. Frames, manage widget top. You'll be able to change the position scale of the widget. I don't know what this means, but you know, it is what it is. Settings. Oh, widget top. Okay, so you can change the scale on it from here. And then yeah, there's a lot of things. Hide talking frames, because I just think they're annoying. Hide event toast, anything like that. I just try to hide everything that's kind of annoying, if I'm being quite honest with you. So I hide whatever I can. And then system. So this is where a lot of good stuff, actually for PvP and PvE, really good settings here in the system. So set weather density. If you've ever lagged on Tiger's Peak because of the snow, and previously on Blaze Edge Arena, where I think it used to be like a super orange, like dusty orange. This is what controls you from like, help me prevent myself from lagging, because you can turn the weather density down to 0, which is what I do. And you essentially don't see it anymore. So I just set that to 0. Max camera zoom also. I would just check this and make sure, because then you can have your camera zoomed way out. I mute mount sounds. I actually have all sound muted. So I actually could probably just mute all of this because I already have it muted. Disable loot warnings. I don't know what that is. Faster auto loot, because again, I'm trying to loot mobs and get out of there. So I do enable the fast loot as fast as possible, and then easy destroy items. So this allows you to, is there anything I can destroy? Any epics here? I'm not seeing an epic I can throw away. I'm sure I would guess. Is there anything I can destroy? Okay, yeah. So right here. So I can destroy this right here, and it's not going to ask me to press delete. I could just say yes and then just press yes and it'll delete it, which is really, really good. And then I don't have any other settings here in the settings or media. Again, this is one of those add-ons where if you really want to get the full value out of it, you're going to have to go in yourself and just tailor it to yourself. For me personally, I just set it up for a lot of automating stuff and just a lot of system stuff, just because it helps with my FPS. But again, I would highly recommend just going through settings, taking the time to just learn the add-on a little bit. And I'm sure there's something in there that I have enabled or disabled that you might like. So just keep that in mind. Masque, this is what puts the green on my frame. There's really nothing else to it. That's it. I have the global normal text set to green, which is the color of monk. And that's literally it. That's the only reason I have this add-on. MountJournalEnhanced. This, I have no settings enabled for this. I just go into my mounts and it shows like what your rarest mount is, how many times you've mounted it, which is pretty sick, and what is the percentage of players that have the mount, which I think is really cool. So 1.45% of people own this mount, which is pretty cool. You know, so I like seeing stuff like that. You know, I'm a data nerd, so seeing stuff like that is pretty fun. But it's obviously not a mandatory add-on. I just like it because I just like mounts and collecting stuff like that. So I recommend it for anyone who likes to collect mounts. Nameplate cooldowns. This is a really good one for PvP. I would caution you or anyone who uses this add-on to not go too crazy with this add-on, because you can quickly make your UI look terrible, straight up, and borderline unusable. So what I try to do with this add-on is I try to track, and what this does, by the way, let me just test mode here. So what this does is this will put cooldowns above players' nameplates. For me, I want it underneath their health bar, so I set it to -40. So just set the Y coordinate to -40 if you want it underneath the nameplate, and then go into spells. And I'm not even kidding. What I did is I disabled everything, every single thing, and every single spell. You have to turn off test mode. There we go. I turned off every single spell, and then I enabled what I thought was important. So what I did is the primary defensive and the primary burst cooldown of each spec is what I did, and that's it. You could see AMS for DKs, Arcane Surge for Arcane Mages, Astral Shift for Shaman, Aspect of the Turtle for Hunters, Avenging Wrath for Paladins. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, because you could easily, it can go crazy, straight up, it can go crazy, and you could be tracking 10 different things per class, and it's just not good. Like, honestly, it really isn't. So get rid of all the things you really don't need. You know, there's certain things that you think you need to track, but you're not going to, especially as a healer. There's just certain things you don't need to track. So go in here, mess around, Really keep it simple, as simple as you can. As far as everything else, I don't really change anything in here. I pretty much just make sure it's just underneath the enemy player's nameplate, and then keep the spells to a minimum 100%. Niggles right here, as we all know, I'm a pet battler. I have every single battle. I'm not just kidding. I have every single battle pet in the game. 2,586 of them. If PvP ever got removed from the game, this would be a battle pet YouTube channel. However, PvP shall remain in the game. What this does is this allows me to just save battle pet teams, pretty much. So if you do battle pet, to the one player out there that watches my videos who also pet battles, this is a really good add-on for just making sure that you have the correct, pet battle team. When you need a super squirt day, you got to keep that team ready to go. Omniauras. So this is a huge add-on that I have to thank the creator of this add-on, because this is, my goal is to, if there's an add-on that can do 2 of my add-ons in one, I'm going to use that add-on. This add-on combines 4 add-ons into one, and it's incredible. So this replaces nearly almost every single PvP add-on I used to use. So I'm just going to make a group here because it's just easier to show. So this, what does this do? This is a big debuffs. This is a nameplate auras. This is buff overlays all in one. So I'm going to try to go through every single one. So raid frames. This is going to track anything on your raid frames. So this will track buffs and debuffs that are on the raid frames. And I'm going to go over the aura editor after I explain what they do, because it is a little bit confusing, but I'm going to try to hopefully explain it well. So big debuffs right here, built-in big debuffs. So you can track anything you want. What I do personally is I disable Blizzard buffs, because I think they changed the size, or there was something weird about Blizzard buffs that was giving me some issues. So I just completely disabled it. And as far as debuffs go, I enable it. Of course, you could like show tooltip if you want. So if you hover over it, it'll show the tooltip. Sometimes I like to see it just because sometimes there's new debuffs I'm not aware of and I want to see what they're doing. And then on the raid frame, I put it on the left-hand side. You could change this, of course. Default Blizzard location, right side. You can literally put it wherever you want. I have it on the left-hand side just because that's where I like it. But you could also change the offset as well here. As far as the layout goes, I just scale it. So the scale is it's in the aura editor, and I'll show you, and then priority and then new, and I'll show you kind of what it's doing. But essentially, I'm trying to make sure I have any important debuffs that I want to see, that I specifically want to see, and specify that I want to see. I want to see those big. So fear, any kind of CC, any kind of major debuff like death mark, I want to see it as big debuff on the left-hand side. And then I just have the number of auras set to 5. You could 100%, like, if you want to, you could, go crazy if you want. I don't really see a big reason why. I don't think there's but you can literally make it as many as you want. It's fine. And then the icon size, you can change and mess around with this, of course, but I don't really, I'm trying to keep this minimal, clean. I'm not trying to make anything. I'm not blind here. I mean, I got glasses, but I'm not blind. You know what I mean? So, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it for this, for the debuff section. For the buff section, fairly similar. Enable it, show player. That's it. Presets. I have the raid frame in the center of the raid frame. So if I disable testing and I life cocoon, I just have it moved to the top right, because I have buffs here. I have hots that I need to track, so I don't want to cover them. And then I have debuffs over here. So, and I want to see people's health. So I just have the buff up there, but again, you could put them anywhere, but I tend to just put them in the top right. And that is from this offset here. So if you want to change it, you could just, change it wherever you want. You know what I mean? Like, it's completely fine. No biggie. Everyone has their own preference. And then priority over old. So the newer buff is enabled. So I'm pretty sure if let me just make sure I'm doing this right. So if I fort brew and then I diffuse magic, it's going to push the old one to the left, and then the new one's going to take its place, which is fine. I don't think that's too big of a deal. I think that's fine, but again, you can change it to however you want. Changing the icon size, of course, you can change these to whatever size you want. I'm not trying to go crazy. I want to keep it clean in the raid frame. Opacity, you could change as well. I just like to see it, that's pretty much it. And then nothing crazy over here. I don't enable Blizzard buffs. It messed with my frames for some reason, so I just disabled it. Visibility, I want it everywhere. I have it everywhere. Priority, so this, you could change the priority of certain things. So if you want to see an immunity buff or debuff, set the priority to 100. Priority debuffs are set down in the order editor that I'll explain. And yeah, as far as unit frames go, I don't have this enabled. You could. You definitely could. I think sArena does this though, so I don't have it enabled. But what this does is on your target, your player frame, maybe even potentially on your focus frame. On your focus frame, you could actually this might be a good add-on. Now that I'm thinking about this, this could actually be kind of good. I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna of course update the profile if I do, but I had it disabled for the longest time. I thought I had an add-on that does it, but maybe it doesn't. Anyway. Yeah, this shows the debuff of any CC on somebody, which is kind of interesting. I think you can enable the spells as well. So I'm going to mess around with this. I don't have it enabled right now. I might in the future. I'll keep the profile up to date. But right now I have this disabled. Now, as far as nameplates go, so let me just make sure we got everything going on here. So over here now, so this is going to show any CC, any kind of buffs that I track, any kind of debuffs. So a good example of this is my paralysis and my leg sweep. So if I come over here and I incap, it's going to show, this is Omniauras right here. It's also going to show leg sweep as well, anything like that. And it should also show Song of Chi-Ji. Yep. So things like my CC, anything like that, highly recommend because it's just easier to see. I think awareness is super important and this helps with awareness by far. So that's the nameplate section. I'm trying to see if there's anything that there's nothing crazy in here. Because I do track debuffs. I don't track buffs too much. I actually don't track buffs at all in the nameplate section. So I don't do anything. You could show only CC, but there's certain debuffs I want to see. A really good example is Unstable Affliction. So Unstable Affliction, if you use paralysis on an enemy with UA on them, it's going to dispel, or any dot, right? A Vampiric Touch, Devouring Plague, Shadow of Pain, anything, any kind of debuff is going to dispel it, or remove the debuff. So I want to make sure that I'm not making that mistake. So I do track certain debuffs. So I don't use CC only, but you could absolutely see like how I track Unending Resolve. You could absolutely just have like show CC only. That's fine. That is completely fine. And then auras. So this is the big aura editor and the auras right here that I was talking about. Aura editors. First of all, these are auras that you could add, and I have added Aspect of Harmony buff and debuff. So these are two different spell IDs. Highly recommend it. They also don't have Blade Storm and like certain things in here for PvE. So I did add them. If you want them, import the profile 100%. And now as far as auras go, it looks a little complicated. I was a little overwhelmed at first. This is nothing too crazy. So hover over right here. So if you want to see pummel on the raid frame, enable it. So if you want to see when your teammate is kicked by a warrior, enable it. If you want to see when an enemy is kicked by a teammate, enable it. Right here, friendly nameplate. I don't have friendly nameplates enabled, so I don't track this. But if you want to see on a nameplate, if your teammate is kicked by a warrior, enable this. On the unit frame, so up here, if you want to see when they're kicked, enable it. Arena unit frame. So this is on the arena frames over here. I do have it enabled. And then you could enable player, unit frame, and nameplate. So I guess maybe it does two in one time, but I don't do that. I don't want to do anything too crazy with that. And then glow icon. So you can make it glow. I don't think I have many that glow. So for example, paralysis. Let me come over here to debuffs. Let me see if there's any incaps. There's paralysis. So here's a good example, right? So I want to see on the enemy nameplate, right? Let's just say I don't want to see paralysis on the enemy nameplate and I use paralysis. You're not going to see it, right? I do not want to see it. But let's just say you have a change of heart and you say, you know what? I kind of want to see paralysis on the nameplate. It's going to, the next time I use paralysis, it's going to show over their nameplate, which is really, really good. Super helpful. Again, I think it helps with awareness. I think this is really good for shuffle because there's no voice. So you could help with, there's no communication on CC or anything like that. So this helps with seeing if the enemy healer, enemy DPS is in CC. So I'm going to use paralysis again. I've enabled the enemy nameplate and it's going to show. So this add-on, like I mentioned at the start, is 3 or 4 add-ons in one. I think it's so good. And one of my key philosophies is if there's an add-on that can do 2 add-ons in one that I'm using, I'm going to absolutely use that one because it's just going to help with clutter, any kind of customization. I can just do in one add-on instead of 2, which is really, really great. And then I don't have anything crazy and anything down here. So that is Omniauras. Another add-on I could easily do a 1 hour plus video on, OmniCD. So OmniCD, another crucial add-on for PvP and PvE. I know that at some point they're gonna maybe add an in-game version of this. We'll see. But what this does is this just tracks your teammates' cooldowns. So I'm trying to see if I could test it. I don't know if I can or not. Visibility, arena. Yeah, here we go. Test. So right now, I am going to just use arena as an example. I do have this enabled for dungeons as well, though. So it's you could have different spells for different versions, right? Different aspects of the game. You get battlegrounds, dungeons, different ones. I can actually show you super quick. For battlegrounds, I have different spells. Like for battlegrounds, I'm tracking like only major defensive cooldowns. So if you go to the defensive cooldown section, I'm only tracking like AMS. Actually, I should track AMZ. For Demon Hunters, I'm not even tracking. Okay, I should probably track Blur and Darkness. But you could say I have so little because there's 8 frames or 10 frames if you're an RPG. So I try to keep it to a minimal. In Arena, I try to track as much as I can without being overwhelmed. So first of all, offensive cooldowns, I track nothing, which could be good, could be bad. I don't really care if my team has damage, because if I'm doing threes, I'm going to ask them. Like, you could go to any of my streams. I'm always asking, do we have damage? Like, if we have damage, I'm going to go for in-cap, sweep, song, all that fun stuff, right? So I'm always going to try to do that. Shuffle, it might be good for shuffle. I wish maybe if there was a shuffle little bracket here, I would maybe do something a little different, but there isn't. So I think if you scroll through here, I don't have any offensive cooldowns enabled. I really don't. As far as defensive goes, as a healer, I care more about defensives than offensive cooldowns. So I went through here. Went through every single class, and I've enabled what I think is important to track. Again, I really try to keep this to a minimal as much as I can. Even on a Windwalker, yeah, Windwalker actually has quite a bit. So, it's also tracking Live Cocoon and Restore and all that. There's never any mistweavers. So, yeah, I think this is super important. Just keep it to a minimal. I think it's another add-on where you could easily just get overloaded with how much information you have. PartyPetFix, this is, I don't even know why I need this add-on, if I'm being quite honest with you. For some reason, the game is bugged where I cannot have PartyPetFrames enabled and raid frame pets disabled. I don't know why. I know in the options right here, if I type in pet, you can display pets in a raid and party, but for some reason I cannot have it enabled in arena, and I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. So this add-on is to fix that issue. That's it. That's literally it. It's actually kind of cool because you can make the pet class color match the DPS. So if you have a DK on your team with a pet and a warlock on your team, the pet is going to be red and the warlock is going to be purple, which is kind of cool. And you can also adjust the width and all that. So I actually think it is useful and it's nice, but I hate that I need to have an add-on for it. You know what I mean? Premade groups filter. So this is a really good add-on if you pug a lot. So I go to hit this right here. I'm going to browse groups, and then you're going to see PGF up here. You're going to enable it. This is really cool. It's really good for dungeons as well. I think it's mostly useful for dungeons, but let me delist my group here. Go to dungeons. Let's just pretend like we need to go look for a dungeon here. So what you could do is you could set a bunch of filters, like so many filters. I can filter for every dungeon for everyone with 2,900 plus Raider IO. I'm going to disable that. So I disable that and I see a bunch of groups here. You can filter out any dungeons, but most importantly, what I use this for is I set it so groups have 0 healers. So if I disable this, you're going to see a bunch of groups with healers. And I don't care. If I'm trying to pug, I'm not trying to join a group that already has a healer. So I do this and it filters out all those groups, and then you can obviously filter by Mythic Plus, which is really, really nice, or, group type, which is great. For PvP, it's the same thing. You can go to arenas, enable it. You could switch the bracket depending on what you want. But again, most importantly is I'm trying to look for groups that aren't healers. So I'm trying to see if there's any groups that have healers, but it doesn't seem like there's many. So that's fine. But I always have this enabled. I want to make sure I'm not, trying to find a group. So right here, so this group has a Resto Shaman in it. I'm not trying to join a group that already has a healer in it. So I'm going to enable this, make sure it has 0 healers, and that group filters away. So highly recommend this add-on if you pug a lot, if you find yourself kind of short on teammates quite a bit. Great add-on for any kind of pugging. The other one I don't see, but it's Plater. So this one, I don't even know where to start with this add-on. So this is my Plater, and I have the import in the description as well on that GitHub page. Great add-on. I know that a lot of people play the BetterBlizz plates, which is great, but I like Plater. I think it's done pretty well. I show enemy nameplates, show friendly nameplates, and I hide the Blizzard health bars, and then I always want to see nameplates. I don't think I show anything. Oh, enemy spec right here. So I always make sure I show the enemy spec icon, because this is what allows me to see, like, I don't need to really look at my arena frames that often, because I'm just looking right in front of me. I know what spec I'm looking at. Colors and threat, don't care about. Target, I don't do anything with target either. Cast bar, I use BetterBlizzFrames for that, so I don't care. Scripting, I have a few things in here, nothing too crazy. Yeah, there's nothing too insane. A lot of them are out of date. Modding, arena enemy number, that's pretty much it. I don't really do anything here. Personal bar, I don't even use the personal bar. Buff settings, I don't use any buff tracking. Enemy NPC, enemy player, don't really care about enemy player too much. I just have this enabled, and I just have it set to the height is always 10 and the width is 125. That's literally it. That's like the biggest thing. So if you're using my Diminish and you want to know the width on my nameplates, it's 125 if you're using Plato or BetterBlizz plates. Friendly NPC, don't really mess around with that too much. Friendly player, big question here is how I enable, like, 1 second, let me just show hide in the world. All right, so I'm going to, so this SweepyBoop, which I'll talk about, shows the icon, spec icon over people's characters. That's from this. So what I do is I enable player friendly colors. I make sure I set it to only show player name, set it to use friendly colors, and then change the opacity to 0 on both of these, the color and friendly color. And that's how you're able to enable nameplates without having to see the name, because that bothered me for so long. Nothing here, nothing crazy here. Yeah, nothing. Again, I try to keep things to a minimal. I try not to overcomplicate things. So I really just, for this add-on, I pretty much just set it to the skin that I want and the height and width that I want. And then I just, that friendly player setting is the big reason I use this add-on. It's really, really good. I haven't changed from Plater in so long. Got Reflex. This is just for tracking games. That's literally it. I like it a lot because you can add a bunch of filters. You could see this season, and you could see all the different games that you played, which is really, really cool. You could see BG Blitz, which is great. If you kind of hold shift, you could see the MMR, which is fantastic. You could change 2s, 3s, what spec, all that stuff. So this is just for tracking arena games. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else to it. I just like seeing that stuff. sArena. So sArena is my arena frame add-on, which again, I have not changed from this add-on. I love this. And I do get asked this a lot. What do I use for my profile? And I have those settings. I have those descriptions in my GitHub here. But what somebody did essentially is they made their own profile. They made their own setting. And what you need to do is you need to just pretty much just copy the sArena file, which is somewhere. I don't know what, BlizzTourney right here. So this file, you just need to put into your sArena folder, and then you could just change the name to Blizz Modern, and that's pretty much it. There is a Reddit that I link to, that I can link to, that shows every single step. Now, as far as sArena itself, not a whole lot of add-ons, not a whole lot of settings, which is so nice. I love when add-ons aren't complicated, or if they're super clean or well documented. It's great. The biggest thing is just change it to the size that you want, pretty much. I just like this size. I like the positioning of it, spec icons, stuff like that. The scale is great. Super simple. See the trinkets, which is fantastic. Racials is great as well. Cast bars and DRs. Now, if you want to do any kind of changes to this, go to global settings, and then this is what you can enable. These are like the settings that you can change. So you could always show how much percentage they have. You could use percentage or health. I kind of like this, kind of clean a little bit, but always shows what I see. You could use class color. You cannot, show names. You don't have to. Diminishing returns. I track the DRs here. And what I do is I make sure it's set to dynamic icons. So if you have this disabled, what it does is if I use paralysis on somebody, the DR is going to show paralysis. But then if I have a mage on my team and they use polymorph, it's going to show polymorph. If you don't have dynamic icons enabled, it's just going to have one symbol for everything. Like if you stun somebody, it's going to show kidney shot, right? I'm not a fan of that. like to see things. I like to see DRs. So that's kind of what I use. I should probably enable Nox though. I think Nox is kind of important. And then ratios, you can choose to show which ratios you want. If you don't like seeing ratios, you could just straight up not see it. Like if you don't want to see human, disable it. It's fine. I think if I disable human and retest it, it's going to just hide, which, you know, is fine. I kind of want to see human, earthen, drain eye, stuff like that. I think is cool. Other ratios I don't think are that impactful, so I don't enable them. Next one, this SweepyBoops is a newer one, and I'm a huge fan of SweepyBoop's PvP helper. This allows you a lot of customization here, a lot of things you could do, which I tried to find add-ons before and couldn't find anything. So this is what allows you to see the spec over people's characters. I hide it in the real world. You don't have to. That's fine. You could hide it in Battlegrounds. You could choose not to. You could have the dip. You could choose what you want to see. Like you could see the arrows. You could choose both. Like I just choose the spec icon, which is nice. So really good. This puts a plus over healers, which is great. You could also show pets as well, which is fantastic. I don't do anything down here. You could change the icon size, it looks like. So let me see. Oh, yeah, you can make it big. Oh, damn. I didn't even know you can make it this big. I guess I kind of want to make it a little bigger. 100%, I think. I think 73% is a little too small. I kind of like the 100% here. So I'm kind of happy with that. Enemy nameplates. So I don't have anything enabled here. The only thing I have enabled for enemy nameplates is hiding the Beastmastery Hunter spec in Arena, so I could see their main pet, which is great. And then it'll show a little icon for those pets. So I like that a lot. Arena cooldown. So this has completely replaced my Omni cooldowns right here, or Omnibar that tracks interrupts. I have it completely disabled now. So I'm going to show you these bars right here. So this right here, Arena cooldowns. This I don't have it enabled, but if you want, you can enable a bar here that tracks cooldowns. I tested it out a little bit, but it kind of went against my philosophy of having the same thing in different spots. It's too overwhelming. So I don't have it enabled. I do see some people have it enabled, which is cool. I don't, but yeah, if you like this, go for it. I think it's slightly overwhelming to have it all enabled at once, but I don't play that. However, I do use the standalone bars. So this right here, let me just, can I hide this real quick? Let me hide sArena super quick. What I do with the standalone bars is this completely replaced my Omnibar. So if I test all, what I did and what I do, and to the core, I mean this, like I have one section for each part. So this right here, interrupts. This right here, defensives. And this right here is dispels. So I have one bar for each. And then I have one for burst. I don't have it enabled, but if I wanted to, I could. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, I don't know if I wanted to see it or not there. So I have it disabled right now, but I do track defensives. I track interrupts. And I track dispels here. And all you have to do that is to create a bar. So you have different bars here. I have this one set to interrupts. Just go to spells, disable all, like just click uncheck all, and then just go through and enable all the interrupts. And then you can just move it around to wherever you want. And you do that for dispels as well. And you can do it for defensives. And I've already done that for you. So if you just want to take this profile and then mess around with it, 100% go for it. Because I just have different sections for each one. Raid frames. I don't really know what this does, actually. I don't really know. Show an animated dot. Oh, so this shows when somebody's targeting you in Arena, which I think is helpful, at least in the start of a raid or in the start of an Arena. So if you want to see who the enemy team is targeting on your team, enable this. Miscellaneous. Don't really have anything crazy going on here. Actually, did not touch anything in here. Range checker. I don't know what this is. Support the original Weakauras. I don't know what this is enabled. So I'm assuming I can enable when something's in range, which I guess, actually I might mess around with this. Like you could probably track Cyclone and see if you're in range or stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. I might mess around with that, but I don't have it enabled right now. And then I have nothing enabled here. So really good add-on. Another add-on where I feel like it does what another add-on does and then does a little bit more. So I use this over that one, which I think is really, really helpful. And I think it's a great add-on. It's a little bit of one of the newer add-ons, but it stays up to date, which is great. And then Trophy GCD tracks my GCDs. So right here, it's really helpful for myself when I watch VODs and I want to try to see if there's anything I messed up, or for anyone watching the games. I think it's great. I have it here. I made it for the guide kind of big here. I don't really plan on having it this big. Usually I have it down here. So really good. It's also helpful for anyone who is recording their gameplay and you also want to see like what your globals were like. I would 100% get Trophy GCD and enable it. Finally, we have Weakauras, and this, I mean, it can't do an add-on guide or add-on video without mentioning Weakauras. So all of my Weakauras are on my profile on the Weakaura website. I try to keep it as minimal as possible, but I can go through some of the important Weakauras that I use, and I try to make my own. I think it's really important to understand Weakauras and kind of make them yourself. I think it's great. Currencies, this is just a bunch of Weakauras in one where it just tracks a currency and then the cooldown on the crate that spawns for the sockets. Arena 123 precog, just precog for Arena 123. Enemy cast on you. This one actually isn't mine. I saw it on the WoW subreddit, and this just shows when spells are being cast on you. I kind of stripped it of everything else, and it's really good. It works in Arena, so this is really nice. Highly recommend it. I did not make this, but yeah, I could put a link to it. It's really nice, actually. Enemy dispels. I don't need this because I have the SweepyBoop, so it's not enabled a lot of the time. This is my big mistweaver Weakaura, and you know, I'm always trying to keep this up to date as much as I can. I need to push the update for the Vivacious change, but yeah, I just try to keep all of my Weakauras in here, all of the buffs, everything that I think you might need for a mistweaver, and I just have this enabled here. PvP cooldowns alert. This is for the buffs in Deepwind Gorge or anything like that. I'm trying to think of anything else that it might need. No, nothing too crazy. Oh, this is also for Silver Shard Mines that tracks the duration on when a cart is going to cap as well. PvP cooldown tracker. This is another Weakaura I made, and this will track the anytime a defensive or offensive cooldown is used in Arena. I use them, and I kind of like to rely on myself to update Weakaura, so I have that. Another kind of add-on tracker or ability tracker is my PvP shoutouts. So drinking, shadow rift, certain offensive cooldowns, which I think are important. This Weakaura is just funny because it just disables the RBG brackets and it shows the arena brackets, which I think is kind of fun. Touch of Death is just shows when a player is at 15% health or less. And then Vitality Tracker, I actually didn't make this. I also snagged this off the Weakaura website. Try it here, and this just tracks Vitality, which is really good. I kind of stripped it of like everything else that it had, and I just used it for kind of what I need. You know, I try not to overcomplicate things too much, but those are all of my add-ons. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. As always, the profiles are in the description, so please take them, use them, change them. Let me know if anything needs to be updated or changed, and I'm more than happy to do that. With that said, hope everyone has a fantastic first day. Hope you have a great Season 3 of The War Within, and I'll see you later.